I've taken permission from my client before sharing this story, and obviously, I'll not be mentioning his private details. He'll be kept anonymous. But the purpose of sharing this incident and the advice with you guys is so that if you men, mostly men who watch my channel, you are in a relationship, there are sometimes you need to take the tough stance or make the tough call, if that's the right word, and end the relationship before it gets overly complicated. All right. See, the basic premise why we men get into a relationship is to make our lives better, obviously, and provide good things for our partner. No one gets into a relationship, or no one wants to get into a relationship to further complicate their life. But this is exactly what is happening with most of them. We see a girl, the girl is beautiful, she has a great body, she has a charming personality, you both hit it off well, she laughs at your jokes, she wants to listen to you, she talks to you, you like to listen to her. Then obviously the main bonding part is the sex, which is amazing, the anticipation, the thrill, then the great moments that you both go outside, you travel, you make plans. So you have a lot of good memories. But then when the honeymoon phase kind of dies out and you get back to the realities of the relationship, because you're not going to have sex 24/7. You're not going to go out for picnics and holidays and fun 24/7. You're not going to only have romantic stuff. You're going to have normal discussions, disagreements. You're going to discuss ideas, and maybe you both might even move in together. And that is where you will tend to see another human being having a different personality. And that is where things kind of start to clash. And when they clash, how do you deal with it? How does your partner deal with it? And that is where the red flags show up one by one. Some of the very challenging, I think, problems most of the guys have is if you have a strong opinion and your girlfriend has a strong opinion, if you have very strong rules and regulations or do's and don'ts, which are not flexible, and she also has the same do's and don'ts and rules which are not flexible, and they tend to clash. For example, you tell her you can't talk to your friends. Okay, I don't like you having male friends. And you have female friends. Then she can tell you, okay, then I don't want you to have female friends. What do? Do you have the same rules for both? Or let's say she doesn't mind you having female friends, but you mind her having male friends. What do? Or this is a very common problem some of them have. The female works in the office, and you see her colleagues, one of them you don't like, he's very smart, and she tends to spend more time in the office. Obviously, you're like, where were you in the office? Yeah, but were you with him? And, that jealousy factor. On top of that, you tend to have expectations. Oh, this can kill a relationship. I'll make a separate video on this, whereby if your girl has demands, okay, I want to go for this movie, and you say yes, and then you have to cancel it because of work. Or in my case, it was even more complicated because I was married, although I was not in love with the woman I was married to. She was like my best friend, but I used to hang out with this girl. But she wanted me to spend more time with her, spend more money on her, be with her more, everything more. So it was always like, and I gave her much more than what she even had, but she still wanted more. I know. You will be like, man, you're talking of cheating on your wife, and you know me, I'm very transparent. Don't worry, I'm not doing it now. This was before Dubai life. So no matter, I'm just talking about my relationship with this girl. No matter how much I would give her, it was never enough. And I was not having rom-com kind of, if that's the right word, erotic sex with my wife. We were not close in the sense, I was not close to her physically, but as a friend, she was always there. So no matter what I did for this girl, no matter what, she was a great girl, by the way, great girl. She would always want more time, spend more money on her. Like, it was just never enough. Like, she didn't demand I buy things for her, but it was like, we go for this movie together, we go for there together, we go. And when she was a Filipina, and they're very possessive. And when she got into an argumentative state, oh my goodness, the drama would just never fucking stop. We would go on and fight like cats and dogs, And I hated it. I just hated it. And for those of you who are in a relationship with a girl, and the girl has fights with you, arguments with you, that is so energy sapping. Many men that I know, they just dread going home. They just don't want to go home. And so when you have someone with strong opinions, someone with rules and regulations, someone with expectations, that is a very big, powerful word, and someone who has their demands, and then on top of that, if you start having arguments, arguments and fights, and then that in itself is a killer. But I'll tell you, if it crosses this, one is if the amount of the frequency of which you argue and fight, if that is quite high, that itself is a massive red flag. But then if it crosses this and gets into she breaking things or physical, she attacks you physically, or even worse, she turns up at your workplace and harasses you or harass your workmates. This has happened. I've had people like this. Or she threatens legal action. Or even worse, oh my goodness, this one I can't stand, is where they bring their family members into the foreplay and into the foreplay, yeah. And then you have to explain to her father, her mother, and then I hope you don't bring your parents, and it becomes too much of a masala. And then if you have common friends, that's an even bigger headache, because everyone's chirping into her ears. And then on top of that, the even bigger red flag is if the girl smokes and drinks. Oh, Allah Akbar. That is all I can say. And yes, has male friends, that can complicate things. So, and the traits, characteristics. Does she have a temper? Is she impulsive? Does she, wash dirty linen and show the whole world and comment on Facebook, you're like this, you're like that, this is what happened, and she cries and makes it a big news. So all this are lots and lots of red flags that I tend to get from my clients. And it is, I'll tell you, when they share their problems, I can make out how difficult it is for them. And sometimes they know what they are supposed to do, but they want to hear it from someone. They just want to hear it. It's like logically, we know what is right and wrong. We have common sense, but it is the emotional part where we don't use our brain. Like I always tell you, blood can flow either here or down there. So it has to choose one. So if the blood flows down there and you think with emotions, feelings, and sex, this will not work. And if you make any permanent decision, whether it's getting tattooed with her face, like I've done, I have done, but you can't unless you go for surgery, you can't remove it. Or you give your money, or I don't know, power of attorney, whatever, or a joint bank account, or she stays with you in the house and now she's not willing to leave, or the worst of the worst, you get married and finish. So my advice to my client was, you have to see if you can make it work. If you can make it work hard on it, both of you, sincerely. But if it cannot work, and it's disrupting your life, and it's disrupting her life, and it's becoming toxic, and it's becoming somewhere a headache, it is not worth going ahead and living a miserable life. It's like every day going home and you're like, oh, she's not again. It's not worth it, man. You one life, you just have one. I'm not saying dump her for someone better, but then when you're not happy in the relationship, both you and her, the minute someone else comes and they give their emotions and feelings to that person, this is where the complication starts, and eventually it'll become a disaster. And the last thing you need is, when you're in the relationship, that either partner has another partner. Then all hell will break loose. And you will end up with the repercussions which you never expected or wanted. So I hope this video gave you some insights. If any one of you has any personal stories to share, which you can summarize, or you can share it with me privately, love to hear what you have to say. And yes, feel free to put your advice in the comments below. Good, bad, ugly. You guys take care. This is me signing off. Ciao.